Content warning. This video can contain graphic discussions of violent crimes, including murder, missing persons cases, and child abuse. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Hello and welcome back to True Crime Chronicles. For those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel. This is a space where we seek to give a voice to the victims and examine the intricate and often devastating details of real-life cases. Today, we're returning with a story that is both deeply troubling and critically important. On a cold Sunday night in January 2022, a young mother vanished without a trace from Anderson, South Carolina. Nearly 3 years later, her family is still waiting for answers, still searching for closure, and now fighting to change the law in her name. This is the story of Alexis Ware. Alexis Ware was 29 years old, a hairstylist with a passion for fashion and modeling. She was a devoted mother to her 9-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son. Those who knew her describe her as supportive, kind, and full of life, always planning for a brighter future for her family. But in the days leading up to her disappearance, something was wrong. The last weekend of January 2022, Alexis spent time with her family. Her mother, Alberta Grace Simpkins, noticed her daughter was not herself. Alexis was fearful. She told her mother that someone in a black truck had been following her for weeks. She spoke of receiving incessant, blocked phone calls from someone she ominously referred to as the devil. Disturbingly, she cried and expressed a feeling that she wouldn't live to see her 30th birthday, which was just 2 months away. Despite her fears, on Sunday, January 30th, Alexis returned to her apartment in Greenville. She video chatted with her mother around 3 p.m., saying she was tired and going to nap. But that wasn't the end of her day. Later that evening, around 7:30 p.m., surveillance footage captured Alexis at a 7-Eleven gas station off Highway 29 in Anderson. She had arranged to meet the father of her youngest child, TJ Patterson, to hand off both of her kids. The meeting, partially obscured by a tractor trailer in the footage, appeared normal. The plan was for Alexis to follow Patterson to his mother's house afterward. But something changed in an instant, according to Patterson's account. After leaving the gas station, Alexis suddenly sped around him at a red light and drove away at a high rate of speed. It was the last confirmed sighting of Alexis Ware. Her phone was never answered again. When Alexis didn't show up or make contact the next day, her family knew this was completely out of character. A missing person report was filed on February 1st. The investigation led to a chilling discovery 3 days later. Alexis's red 2019 Honda Accord was found abandoned on a remote dirt road in a heavily wooded area of McCormick County, about 70 miles from that Anderson gas station. The scene was perplexing and troubling. The car was covered in mud. Inside, investigators found Alexis's purse, her cell phone, her daughter's phone, and a bag of clothes. All her personal belongings were left behind. Just outside the vehicle, they found the black hair bonnet she had been wearing that night. For her family, this detail was a red flag. As her mother Alberta said, a woman's first instinct would be to pick up a fallen bonnet. Its presence outside the car suggested a struggle or that something had forced Alexis from her vehicle. The car's journey was also mysterious. Data and sightings indicated it had traveled to an apartment complex in Anderson later that night, and even crossed into Augusta, Georgia, before being dumped in the rural hunting lands of McCormick County. What followed was a massive multi-agency search effort. Deputies from Anderson and McCormick Counties, SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and even the FBI, which later joined the investigation, combed hundreds of acres by air with K-9 units and on foot. Despite their efforts, no sign of Alexis was found. The father of her child, TJ Patterson, was initially looked at closely as the last person to see her. However, By early 2023, officials stated that several avenues of investigation suggested he had no involvement and he was no longer considered a person of interest. The trail, it seemed, had gone cold. But for Alexis's family, the nightmare was just beginning. The emotional toll has been immeasurable. In the early days of the search, her brother, Travis Ware, said, "I feel like I'm in a nightmare. I'm waiting to wake up from this nightmare." Her mother, Alberta, has spoken of the daily anguish. "I miss my child every day. I keep asking God to send me a clue. Just racking my brains trying to figure out what happened." And her children are left without their mother. Alberta has shared the heartbreaking reality that her granddaughter lays down and cries for her mom. But from this pain, a mission has grown. Frustrated by what they felt were bureaucratic hurdles in the investigation, specifically the rule that state-level SLED agents must be invited by a local department to join a case. Alexis's family and advocates are channeling their grief into action. They are fighting to pass new legislation called the Alexis Ware Act. This proposed bill would allow families of missing persons, after a certain period, to directly request SLED's involvement, bypassing potential local roadblocks. As advocate Bruce Wilson explained, when Alexis's mother initially reached out to SLED, she was told they had to be invited. This act aims to prevent that delay for other families. The bill was presented to South Carolina lawmakers recently, while it has yet to find a formal sponsor. The Ware family's advocacy has brought critical attention to systemic gaps in how missing persons cases are handled. Alexis Ware is still missing. She would be 32 years old today. She has multiple tattoos, including a leaf-like feather on one hand and a rose on the other, and dimple piercings. If you know anything at all about what happened to Alexis Ware on or after January 30th, 2022, no detail is too small. Please, come forward. Contact the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, 8642604405. OR submits an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. 1-888-CRIME-SC. 1-888-274-6372. A reward is being offered for information leading to her discovery. For Alexis's children, for her mother, her brother, and for all who loved her, the search for answers continues. This is not just a cold case file. It's a life interrupted, a family shattered, and a story that desperately needs an ending. Until next time, remember the missing. Another mystery explored, another story told. Thank you for joining us for this episode of True Crime Chronicles. Your support is what fuels this channel. If you want to join us for our next investigation, the best way is to subscribe and ring that bell so you're always in the know. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and share it with a fellow true crime fan. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay compassionate, and keep seeking truth.